I'm going to share with you now something very personal. Sharing with you my experience of asthma through the entirety, really, of my life. And it's a privilege for me to be able to use this platform to share with you what hopefully will benefit you if you suffer with asthma. It could be asthma, it could be CPD, it could be any lung problems, long COVID, ME. There are all these different conditions whereby your breath is affected, detrimentally to your health and to your well-being. Your breath is your life. So I've been a sufferer from asthma from as long as I can remember. Apparently from the age of about 2, it was first recognised and diagnosed, and it's been pretty much a part of me through the entirety of my life. And it's something that I lived with. I have to live with it. And all the different medications, I remember back in the day, they had these inhalers where there was like a little propeller and a capsule and you had to inhale powder. It was disgusting, it was horrible, but it kept me alive. I can remember nights of hanging out of a bedroom window, just trying to get some air, some breath in. And so through my teenage years, I managed to play some sport, but asthma was always there. It become a part of me. And then I think I got to about the age of 30 and I realised that there was changes that need to be made to my life. And part of these changes was to address my asthma, because an interview with the doctor was saying, yes, Andrew, we've got to double your medication. And at the time I was on the reliever, the reliever inhaler, salbutamol or Ventolin, and also the steroid, Becotide. And that's the one that you want to double the doses. And I used to get some pretty nasty side effects from the Becotide, especially in my mouth, my throat, and it just didn't feel good to be having to take this steroid, this drug. Now, first and foremost, let me just say, I'm not telling you to stop your medication. I'm not telling you to not go to your doctors. I still go to my doctors. Well, I don't need to get the checkups anymore, but if there's a problem, I go to my doctors. I listen to all of the, listen to approach any issue from all different angles. So let me just say, work for me. Hopefully things will work for you, but I am not telling you not to take your medication or go to your doctor. My experience was the doctor, I remember asking him, is there anything else I can do? And, the doctor sort of interlaced his fingers, he put his hands on the desk, he looked me in the eye, said, Andrew, you've got asthma, you need to learn to live with this asthma. Now, stay with me towards the end of the video, because I will be giving you some ideas what's coming next, how to address your breathing and hopefully to improve upon your breathing. So anyway, the doctor, Andrew, there's nothing you can do, you've got to live with your asthma. So I went straight from the doctor's. I remember where I used to live, the library was just over the road. So I went over the road and I found a book about breathing. And I didn't even know it was a book upon yoga. One of the very first exercises in that book was a simple breathing ratio. And I've shared this on the different videos already. The Savitri ratio, whereby you breathe in for the count of 4, you hold your breath for the count of 2, you breathe out for the count of 4, you hold your breath out for the count of 2. Now, I don't want you to practice just yet. Just talking you through this. The next video will start to look at something tangible a tool that you can use for your breathing. So I practiced the Savitri ratio, and I used to practice it walking. I used to have this big dog, big deerhound, Sid. And as I walked, I counted my steps. I breathed in for 4 steps. I held my breath in for 2 steps. I breathed out for 4 steps. I held my breath out for 2 steps. And I did this day in, day out, maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks. And do you know, there was a profound effect upon my asthma. And not just my asthma. Asthma is a physical condition, but nothing worse than not being able to breathe or worrying when your next breath is going to arise. So psychologically, there's an anxiety, a tension. It's tangible, you feel it. And it exacerbates the condition. It tightens up your chest, restricts the expansion of your chest as you contract. And just by simply walking with this big dog, counting my breath, within, as I say, a month, 6 weeks, I was a little bit more at ease with my breathing. The asthma, of course, it was still there, still very much there, very present, but it had lost a little bit of its power over me, because those pauses in between each breath, I recognised that I wasn't just going to keel over and pass out if I didn't immediately breathe in. So it took the anxiety, some of that anxiety away. And so I stayed with the practice, day in, day out, sunshine, rain, hail, snow, counting my breath. And that led me to inquire a little further, what are these breathing techniques? Where do they come from? And they were the first few steps on my yoga inquiry on this. It's been the work of most of my life now. And I will, in the next video, part 2 of this practice, we'll start to explore the different techniques, but I'll just let you know now that for many years I haven't actually had to use the inhalers. And it's not a boast. Do you know, I'm sharing this. I tell you this, whilst I don't use any medication, and I remember going to my annual asthma checkup, and the asthma nurse, she sat me down and she said, "Andrew, you don't need to see me anymore." Now, an interesting thing, a little bit of an aside from this, is I felt a sense of loss. That asthma had been so much a part of my life for so many years, all my life, it became a part of me. And to say that that had gone, strange as it seems, there was a loss. There was a loss of identity. There was a loss of, if you like, an aspect of myself. But that's an aside. So the asthma nurse, she tells me I don't need to see her anymore because the last medication I'd got was already out of date. I'd never used it. It's in the cupboard at home. And the freedom, let me tell you, the freedom of being able to leave the house without, I've forgotten my inhaler, because usually that had set off an episode of asthma. I had to go back to the house to get my inhaler. So the liberation, the freedom of not having to carry an inhaler with me. And I got into yoga, so I'm winding this up. Stay with me till the end, please. I got into the yoga practice, all the different aspects, the physical, the philosophical. And I remember bumping into the asthma nurse. Not seeing her, I didn't see her now on an annual or a regular basis. And like I'm sharing with you right now, I thought, I'm going to share. I'm going to offer my services, in fact, to the asthma clinic because it had benefited me, it had turned my life around. And so, why can't I share this with other people that are suffering, afflicted by this? It can be a crippling disease. It really can. It really, and I know from my own experience, I offered my services for free. And you know what? She wasn't interested. They weren't interested in the doctors in the clinic about. And I was a yoga teacher. I was insured, not just some random rocking up from the street. Well, they weren't interested. So this is when I said at the start of this video why it's a real joy for me to be able to share this with you. So this is just the introduction. The next video for my Yoga with Asthma will start to look at the tools, the practices time and tested. I've tested them, I've used them, they benefited me, so hopefully they'll benefit you. So I share these practices because I'm sharing the love. Thank you. Feel free to share if you know anybody that you might feel will benefit if they suffer from asthma, breathing conditions. Press the notification button so you know when I upload my next video. Subscribe. It helps me, it helps the algorithm, it helps this channel get it out there to the whole wide world. Thank you.